Hello and welcome to Fit Life Radio, the place where you can learn a little bit more about how your body works and find new ways to improve your health. I'm your host Petio, and I hope to provide you with as much valuable information and inspire you to become a better version of yourself. What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of Fit Life Radio. Without further introduction, we go straight into today's topics, which I chose because, as the title suggests, there is a dark side of the energy drinks. Now, I've seen many people, especially young people, abusing those energy drinks, and I really want to create awareness around it, and I want to show it to more people that even though it's great that we get more energy from those energy drinks, now long term it's really bad for our health. So this is what we're going to talk about today, and without further ado, actually, let's get started. So energy drinks, huh? Great stuff. Great sugary drinks. They taste amazing, actually. I do love the taste myself. I know it's a very specific one, but well, I mean, I can't help it. They just made it super tasty somehow. So it's of course it's a marketing strategy, but you can't resist. So what is energy drinks? Basically, energy drinks, like I said, it's a sugary drink that it's super tasty for most of the people, and as the label suggests, it's like there is all sort of goodness. It's There's a lot of great. Sometimes it's marketed with um, there's like vitamins inside, and there's like special antioxidants or amino acids that are supposed to help you stay alive and help you focus and all that kind of crap. But really, what energy drinks are, it's just sugar. Basically, it's sugar and caffeine, nothing else. Yes, there might be some, vitamin D or carnitine or whatever in some of them, but it's so low that it's almost not even noticeable, if there's any. So, you know, in order to start talking about the energy drinks and kind of like get more, um, well, kind of like set more the stage, I kind of want to talk about first marketing, because I think marketing is actually it's a great thing. It's a great invention. Marketing, advertising, it's they've done just an incredible job of you know advertising products to the right people and making those people, even though they don't need the product, to feel like they're going to need it and to buy it. So the thing is, as I said, marketing is like, it just every multi-million dollar company is not going to exist without marketing. Like, no company is actually going to exist without marketing. You might have the greatest product ever, but if you don't market it properly to people, they're they're just not gonna buy it. And on the opposite, like, you might have the worst product ever, but if you make a great job at selling that product and convincing people that they need your product, like, you're gonna be very successful at your business. So uh, my problem with marketing is, I have actually no problem with marketing. It's a great thing. It's There's a lot of research put into it. Like, my problem is actually advertising certain stuff which they might be shown as safe or whatever, but really, like, those products are marketed to the wrong populations. Now, um, I'm gonna kind of like, start by saying that, by telling you a story. Now, I lived in England for about 3 years, and I lived in Norwich. For those of you who are maybe familiar with Norwich, so I was in the Norwich market. That's pretty much like in the city center. It's a very cute place, and there is this, like, a very small square with like a brain in the middle, like a sculpture of a brain, and like some sort of kind of benches around. It's super nice. So anyway, I was saying there, I was sitting there, I was kind of chilling, and you know, I that's never gonna go like I'm always gonna remember it for some reason. Like I saw a mom or like a lady with a kid, and the kid was eating McDonald's, which is of course not ideal. It's very bad from a parent standpoint to give the kids, you know, such a food, and to kind of educate the kid to eat that kind of stuff. But anyway, that's not the biggest thing. Like the punchline is that the mom was literally giving the kid Monster energy drink, and the kid, it didn't seem to me that it was older than 10 years old, you know. Like, to me that's insane. That's just crazy. Like, you cannot give a kid such a powerful stimulant. And it's like, you know, caffeine is not exactly a stimulant, but anyway, like, you cannot give such thing to a kid, and expect that kid to be great after it, right? So uh, you know, and clearly the kid liked it, and clearly the mom didn't have any problems with it, or the lady that the kid was with. So um, you know, I have a problem with the industry marketing those type of energy drinks to kids, and to like, you know, those populations which are not able to control themselves, which are not able to really understand the negative impact. Like, non think about it. Let's say there is a 13 years old kid that it's really getting into mountain biking or downhill or some sort of, like, you know, potentially extreme sport, or like you know, high adrenaline sport. uh, you know, I'm not gonna talk about like how great is that or whatever. Like, I mean, whatever sort of sport you're into, especially if you're a kid, that's just the best thing ever. But when that kid see his favorite high performance athlete in the same field, who is doing the same thing and is promoting some sort of energy drink, like, the kid is basically going to come up with the idea that, you know, if the kid gets that energy drink, like, he's gonna be the best at the sport. He's going to connect the dots, which are super wrong, but he's gonna think that, you know, if that athlete is great and he's taking energy drinks, I should get them too, because I want to be great as well. I want to have better performance. So that's really, I think it's a really bad influence from you know, towards kids. Because, I mean, if you're an adult, you can do whatever you want, regardless whether it's right or wrong. I mean, you're an adult. But like, being a kid, you don't have the ability to basically decide whether this is good or bad. You don't have the ability, just like drugs. I mean, give I mean, even adults cannot resist, you know, taking drugs over and over once they've tried it again once. So like, think about a kid. Like, give some sort of a drug to a kid and get that kid really like the effect of it. Now, go and try to explain to that kid that this is something really bad for its health, and it's like it's something that the kid should not even think of doing once they tried it already, and once it's been marketed and sold to, like, so many people. And like, I know what you're gonna say, like, yes, caffeinated drinks are not, you know, shops are not allowed to sell it to kids and stuff like that, blah blah blah. Like, I mean, come on, how can you regulate it? Yes, maybe you can regulate tobacco, regulate sorry, maybe you can regulate tobacco, which is also not, uh, it's not true, because I mean, I come from Bulgaria, and I've seen, um, I don't know how it's in the big cities, but in my town, literally, there is no place that 13 years old kid cannot go and not buy cigarettes. That's just it, you know. There's no shop where kids can't buy cigarettes or even alcohol. There's no place where someone's going to stop a kid buying energy drinks either. There's no coffee shop or some sort of restaurant. It's not a restaurant, but, you know, like those kind of type of bars which are going to stop kids from purchasing and drinking energy drinks, because it's profit for them. And even though they might be regulated somehow, and there might be, you know, some sort of laws, nobody respects it, because everybody cares about profit. And even if someone respects it, there's always gonna be some sort of people that somehow get their hands into it. And like, the problem is not really being able to get your hands on energy drinks, especially as a kid. The problem is that you are being heavily marketed that this is something great for you. This is something what you should be taking. And uh, like it's not only this. I mean, games as well. There's so many tournaments which are kind of advertising, Red Bull or Monster or any sort of energy drinks which are, you know, supposed to give you focus and better performance behind the computer. And like I will never forget it. Like I had a friend, we were like fifth grade, I would say, which is fifth grade. You are what, 12 years old, 12 or 13 years old. Uh, in the morning, that kid was coming in his back with his backpack, and inside there was one small notebook and three monsters, three 500 milliliter monsters, which were gone by probably like I would say like fourth class, something like that. So basically, we started at 8, and by the time by 11, those three monsters were gone. Now, even if there's no 200, even if it's like 150 milligrams of caffeine in each, this kid was getting at least 400 milligrams or more just in the morning from getting those energy drinks. And like, he was a kid, he was not supposed to be getting those. He was not supposed to be sold any of those. But that kid was just heavily marketed. Like, he was very heavy, and he's still into um, heavy gaming, and just like all sort of tournaments and stuff. And he was heavily, he was coming with the with the hoodies saying Monster on the back, or he was coming with the caps, with the Monster logo and stuff. And he was heavily drinking Monsters, which is a lot of caffeine, a lot of sugar for such a kid. And no wonder why this kid was kind of like crazy, in school. And he get to he kind of get to calm down a little bit later. But he had his issues, if I can say so, right? So my problem is just the marketing side, that I don't think we should market it this way. I know it's a multi-million dollar industry. I know nobody really cares what I think and what I say here, and I'm not gonna change absolutely nothing. But my problem is just like, it's not right for kids to think that this is great. And I will go into more details a little bit later, explaining basically like the negative effects of caffeine, like on people. But like, kids, they just grow up, they're on that kind of age where everything kind of develops. And when you mess their development from the early age, you're gonna just set them for failure. So I'm not saying like forbid them from watching TVs or whatever, but like, I think actively having conversations around those types of stuff, it's, for me, it's the same like drugs. Like, as if I have a kid one day, hopefully, uh, you know as I would go through conversations around drugs and, you know abusing, all those kind of like, sexy and, cool stuff, I would for sure go through conversation with, about uh, energy drinks, or stuff like that, or sugar, or, you know um like any other sort of stuff. But like, this is, it is as equal as, drugs, because once you get hooked on this, once you destroy your body's ability to produce cortisol, and once you have to rely on external factors, especially as a kid, you're pretty much fucked. So yeah, marketing is a great thing, yeah. Anyway, moving on to the next topic is ingredients. Now, as I mentioned, energy drinks, they have they're labeled with a lot of crazy stuff. Like, I've seen vitamin B's and carnitines and L-carnitines and amino acids, and I've seen, like, now with the rise of CBD products, like energy drink with CBD products inside and all sort of crap. It's just like, bro, like, you have to realize that the main ingredient that gives you energy is the sugar. That's just it. Like, the main thing, caffeine is not the thing that gives you energy. And I really want to touch on that a little bit later, and I'm gonna spend probably a lot of time talking about it. But caffeine is not the substance that gives you energy. Sugar is the thing that gives you a lot of energy. Sugar is the uh, as we know, sugar is a food without much of a nutritious value. Sugar is simple energy. It gets absorbed for probably about 15 or less than 15 minutes in your body. It goes through your blood. It gives extreme amount of energy to your muscles and to your brain. And when you combine with a little bit of caffeine, which kind of excites your nervous system and stimulates your nervous system, you go crazy because sugar is the number one uh, source for energy for the body. Like it's the preferred source of fuel for the body. And the more you give it, the more excited you're going to be and the more kind of energy you're going to have. So it's nothing much but energy. And like for those of you who are kind of like who are listening right now and maybe you're thinking, oh, like I kind of know about sugar and I really don't want to have that much sugar in my body. Well, check it out now. The average can, I think, of energy drink is somewhere about 250 milliliters, or this is or 330. I'm not really sure, but I think this is like the Red Bull and Monster. I'm sure Monster have like 500 milliliters, or they're like literally half a liter cans. Now, on average, there are 30 grams of sugar per 200 or in 50 milliliters. So this is somewhere around 60 grams per can of Monster. And as I said, my friend, he was a kid and he had three. Probably he had five for the whole day because in front of me he was consuming three in the morning for like 3 hours. So you know, three Monsters, like that's like that's a lot. Like that's I mean you can think of the amount of sugar that you're just getting to your body. That's what, like almost 100 grams of sugar, which doesn't do nothing. It doesn't give you anything. Like 100 grams of sugar, that's 400 calories. 400 calories, which if you are not able to burn, which by the way, 1 hour of cardio exercise burns roughly about 400 to 500 calories, maybe less. It depends of your like depends on the individual, but like those 400 grams of unnecessary energy is being basically stored as fats, nothing else. And now I know that some people are listening and they're like, okay, yeah, but there are 0 calories energy drinks, and I agree. There are Monsters which are uh, they're packed with stevias or other types of bullshits or sweeteners, which are I mean, I'm not against stevia, but I'm just saying that there are just a lot of stuff that are not very natural. And yeah, sure, they have 0 calories, and that's great, but they're just packed with caffeine. And like this is the other actually ingredient that it makes you alert. Now, in fact, caffeine, it does not make you energized. Caffeine, it stimulates your nervous system, but it's not actually a stimulant. Like caffeine actually binds to the receptors which are supposed to make you feel tired or supposed to tell you that you are tired. Now, what that makes you feel is basically like you don't feel the fatigue, you don't feel the sleepiness, you don't feel the tiredness, because there's nothing to communicate with your brain saying that, hey, we are tired, we need to get some rest. So the more caffeine you have, basically, I heard someone recently give the analogy of like kicking a very tired horse. So imagine a horse that is super tired, is laying on the ground. You kick the horse gets up, move a couple steps, and then goes back down dead. So it's pretty much the same. Like you're tired, you stimulate yourself with you don't stimulate, but like basically you get the sugar that gives you the energy. You mimic those signals that are telling you that you are tired, and now you have energy, or you feel energized, or like not sleepy for a bit. But then what happens? Like the caffeine goes down and you just feel tired again. And whenever you feel tired again, what happens? Well, you need more and more. So now, the problem with caffeine though is not like caffeine itself is not bad for your body or for our body. Like we all drink coffees and stuff, like it's not actually a really bad thing. The problem with caffeine is that it has an afterlife. Like every substance that is not supposed to be in our body, it has afterlife. Every drug or every other substance that you can think of that is not natural, it comes from food, it has afterlife. This is the amount of time that this substance is present in your system, and the amount of time your body is actually trying to remove that substance. So the afterlife of caffeine is 6 hours. And now the thing is, like, here is it gets actually very interesting because um, well, let's say we ingest 100 milligrams of caffeine, right? Now, after 6 hours, half of that is still going to be present in the system. Like, half of those, so 50 milligrams after 6 hours, let's say we ingest caffeine like at 8 in the morning, right? After 6 hours, which is what, 2 o'clock? 2 o'clock or around midday, 2 o'clock, so 8 o'clock we ingest 100 milligrams of caffeine, 8 a.m. 2 p.m. we still have 50 milligrams of caffeine. After 6 more hours, so that's 8 o'clock at night, 8 o'clock p.m., we have 25 milligrams of caffeine still present. After another 6 hours, which is midnight, right, we have 25 divided by 2, that's what, around 12 milligrams of caffeine present in the system. So you see, the way it works is that it doesn't go all after 6 hours. Like, you have still present, even before you go to sleep, you've got caffeine which is present in your system, that circulates in your system, and it's raising cortisol levels. Now, just this is 100 milligrams of caffeine, which is basically a large cup of coffee. Like, as I mentioned, those monster drinks that my friend was drinking, like, they were about 150 to 200 milligrams. So, when you pound like three of them, that gives you 600 milligrams of caffeine, and if you do the math, I really don't know how much that is, and I don't want to calculate it right now, but basically you end up having uh, like a equal amount of caffeine as if you just had a cup of coffee right before you go to sleep. And now, a lot of people would say, like, I gave the I shared this story before on the podcast, where I actually, I tried to get my dad off caffeine because he was drinking quite a lot of coffees throughout the day, and he was complaining of like lack of sleep and being tired all the time. Now, well, the thing is, he was always saying, "Oh, it doesn't affect me. I can drink a cup of coffee and I go to sleep." Well, this is because the more you get caffeinated, the more you stimulate your nervous system, the more you stay in this fight or flight state. Fight or flight basically, there are two states of our nervous system. There is the sympathetic nervous system and the parasympathetic nervous system. They work like they're balancing each other. So the sympathetic system is basically fight or flight state. When we are chased by a bear, when we are very stressed, when we're when we get frightened by a spider or like whatever, or a snake, that survival instinct kicks in and it raises cortisol. Cortisol, it's a great hormone because, like, without cortisol, actually we would be dead. Cortisol is a hormone, it's a catabolic hormone which gets released from the adrenal gland, and it helps us go through stress. Whenever we are stressed, uh, you know, basically cortisol, makes us alert, makes us ready, makes us like go through these stressful events properly, rather than just freeze and die because we're so frightened. Um, so um, on the opposite of that, you've got the parasympathetic state, which is the feed or digest. Basically, this is the other balance, or like the state where you should be calm, you should be digesting the food, you should be kind of sleeping and recovering from all the stress throughout the day. The problem is that and that at that state cortisol is very low, and there's nothing to actually stimulate us to go you know to this state. But the problem with caffeine, as I said, the caffeine keeps us pretty much all the time in that, or as long as we have it in our system, it keeps us pretty much always in that fight or flight state. Now, the more we are in the fight or flight state, the more cortisol we have basically in our system. The more cortisol we have, the less melatonin we would have produced as we approach to bed. And melatonin is the hormone that actually sets us to sleep. Melatonin is like at night, melatonin is high and cortisol is low. So we are supposed to get ready for bed. There's supposed to be, the temperature should be colder. There's no light. Our blood pressure goes low. Our heart beats low. Our temperature goes, kind of decreases. And this is all due to the melatonin, which is produced from the brain um, when we approach the night, when we approach the kind of the evening, and when our optic nerve or our eyes basically sees that there is no sunlight and there is no light, it's dark outside, so we're supposed to be getting ready for sleep. And in the morning, whenever we see the light again, our body basically gets not rid but like slows down or decrease the production of melatonin, and increase the production of cortisol, because cortisol, like, we need that stress hormone to raise the blood raise the body temperature, raise the blood the the blood pressure, keeps us ready, keeps us motivated, kind of get us out of bed basically, and gets us ready to be going. So um, we need to have those two things kind of in balance in order to have a sufficient amount of sleep, and not only enough amount of sleep, but like enough quality of sleep. Now, if you are if you are always into that fight or flight state, if you always have caffeine in your system, even if your optic nerve sees that there is no light and there is bedtime, you are still in that fight or flight state, or that sympathetic state, because of the amount of caffeine that you still have in your system. So you don't feel tired. Your body is tricked to not feel tired. Your body is tricked to not produce um, melatonin. Your body is basically feeling stressed all the time because there's so much caffeine that it's making it like artificially being in that stress state. So um, you can imagine how that can affect the sleep. And like, as I said, sleep is one of the most important stuff in the world, like for our recovery, for learning, for just for us being alive. Now, like, we might have the best diet ever, we might have the perfect amount of activity, like no stress or whatever, but if there is something that disrupts our sleep and the quality of our sleep, we're not gonna be healthy, and that's gonna create even more problems down the line, with more hormonal issues like low testosterone or low estrogen, or like disbalance of those hormones in both men and women, which is going to basically create an unhealthy organism, unhealthy society. And now, uh, knowing all this, put it to 13 years old or 12 years old or 15 years old kid that is like that, this organism is just starting now to create those hormones, there's those people are going through puberty, and those people are just like starting to now develop those and starting with those hormones, starting to develop the mm, basically their body. And just like in general, this is the time when everything pretty much needs to be not perfect, but like a very in a very healthy environment, and like give all that like disrupted sleep and a lot of stress all the time, and disrupted hormones, like hormones that are not even uh, basically s- being produced as much. Now you really set that person for failure. You set that person for having like a lot of like hormonal issues, a lot of like potentially a lot of increased rate of anxiety and depressions, low self-esteem and all sorts of stuff, basically a very unhealthy organism, which is from a very early age. And like it's crazy to me, like kids are not supposed to be like that. Kids are not supposed to grow up unhealthy. Kids are supposed to grow up very healthy and very thriving and very like strong individuals, and then they should maintain it pretty much throughout their life. But uh, I think we should somehow be very aware of this, um, because um, like the thing is, ignorance is the biggest enemy of awareness. um, Now it feels somehow easy to ignore and pretend that those things do not exist, and it's very hard to say actually, yes, like I know this is what I need to do. I know that I'm guilty of that, so I'm gonna try to do my best to just improve it. And the problem is that with the energy drinks, like you don't really feel it. I mean, like, yeah, coffee is not great for everyone. It's not like, especially the taste is not, not many kids like the taste of coffee, but there's so many kids that like, including myself, like I love the taste of energy drinks. Now, the only thing that stops me from drinking energy drinks is the fact that for some crazy reason, as soon as I get few sips from any energy drink, I get dizzy, I start to have headache, my blood pressure goes low, and I feel like crap. I don't know what's that. I don't know. Is it because of some specific compound inside it? I really don't know. But literally every single time in my life when I tried the energy drink, I felt horrible after it. And it happens so fast. So I guess I'm lucky to not being able to consume energy drinks, because if I could consume energy drinks, trust me, I would have had probably a lot of them. So, you know, if you find something like kids that are they're like kids, they might not like coffee, but energy drinks, they taste great. So, you know, it's very hard to say to a kid that it tastes, that is the kid is not supposed to have it, because the kid feels the quote unquote the benefits of it. So guys, my it's kind of a short podcast. I know I talked a lot. There's no cuts or edits or anything. I just wanted to throw it out there. I just wanted to say whatever I felt like, because honestly, I've seen more and more kids having it. I've seen more and more people having it. It's just like I'm seeing more and more people which are constantly stressed, constantly over caffeinated, and still for some reason, not for some reason, I know the reasons, but like, for them, it's like they're drinking so much caffeine, they're getting like, they're so much chronically stressed, and at the same time, they have no energy, and, everything kind of like goes bad, like day after day, week after week. So I really wanted to throw it out there. I really wanted to kind of like make you, help you become more aware, and kind of like, uh, really raise this awareness into the ignorance. That there's a lot of ignorance going out and going on. Sorry, and it just like it's not it's impossible for me to stop the production of energy drink. It's impossible for me to stop someone from drinking energy drink, but like basically if I can help you realize that there is a problem somewhere, that like that you know if I can help you identify that, there is a cut and we should stitch it and we should put a bandage instead of take some sort of pills that make us pain free and we don't feel the pain, or you know just like um I like to give this analogy a lot because it's like, yeah, your blood is dripping down, but who cares? You don't feel it. So it's like, it's the same with caffeine, it's the same with energy drinks. It's like, oh, you're super tired and your body is like throwing signals at you saying that you need to get some rest. But oh, I'm gonna get more caffeine and I'm gonna just mask the signals. Who cares? I'm not gonna get sleep. There's no memories from sleep. Like, that's really not true. Just guys, do not ignore the signals of your body. Be aware of them. Take the appropriate actions. Take care of your health. There is nothing better than this. There's nothing like more beneficial of being aware, learning a little bit more of how those stuff works, and just improving slightly your life. It's improving slightly the quality of your life. And trust me, it's not an easy process, but if you put the work into it, you're gonna see massive benefits. Listen, guys, if you like the information I present you, head over to fitlifeblueprints.com. There's plenty of free resources that you can benefit from. There's also a blog section, and in fact, I wrote a blog specifically on this, and it's called The Dark Side of Energy Drinks. So if you're interested, go and check it out. There's so much more in the website, so go and check it out in case you want to find out more about me or learn anything else about fitness or nutrition or healthy lifestyle or whatever. And yeah, with that being said, I appreciate you guys and see you next time. Bye. Thank you for tuning to Fit Life Radio. I hope you learned something useful or at least had a bit of color to your commute. If you enjoyed the show, please share the love by introducing it to friends and family. And if you don't mind, please leave a review on your favorite podcasting app. Thank you for your support, and until next time, stay fit.